That's right, Disney adults. I'm encroaching on your turf.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hey, I'm Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about getting married on a Disney cruise ship, specifically the Treasure. Why? Because that's what my friends did. And before anyone asks, Amanda, you're reviewing your friend's wedding? Yes, this was part of my wedding gift to them. They specifically requested it. William, if you can, please insert the clip of them saying that they asked for this.
This is her wedding gift. Reviewing my wedding. This is the gift.
This is an inside cabin. This is all that was available for the cheapest option, and it was a lot of money. But I love my friends. But yes, Anarkee and Chris got married yesterday, and I was both the maid of honor and best man, and I take my titles very seriously. So despite what my father says, I am not just here as a witness. My jobs are very serious to me. But really quick, let me tell you about the sponsor for today's video, Squarespace. Whether you want a blog where you can review movies or just have a website where you can show off your work and products, Squarespace is the all-in-one website building platform to help you stand out and succeed online. If you don't know where to get started, they have tons of templates to choose from, but with their cutting-edge design, you can make sure that the website fits your brand and business perfectly. They give you everything you need so that you can offer services and get paid all in one place. They make it super easy to showcase your expertise and engage clients with video content. Go to squarespace.com to get started on a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/swellentertainment to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. I wanted to make this video because one, my friends requested it, but also I do think this is something interesting because especially in the age that I am, a lot of my friends are getting married, okay? And a lot of people have various views of money, and I think that a lot of people think that this is one of the more expensive ways to get married, but I think comparatively to what I've seen from other friends that have actually gotten married, this is not too bad. This is bad in that for the individual, this is very expensive. For me to come to this, I will be totally frank with you, was about $7 grand. That did just hurt my stomach as I said that. To get this room, an inside room that has no window or porthole, but I do get a lovely view of Agrabah. That was just like the cost for me to get this room. That had nothing to do with the wedding. That's not like a wedding block of rooms or anything like that. I want to tell you that because I will probably not end up making a full review of this cruise ship despite Anarkee requesting that I do, because she says, and I quote, only Disney people have reviewed this ship, and I am not a hardcore Disney person. As I joke, I like to fistfight the capitalist mouse as often as possible. So she would like me to review this ship, but I don't know if that'll necessarily work with my content, so we'll see if what I end up doing, okay? But as a whole, I will say that if it weren't for the fact that my friends were getting married on this cruise ship, I would not make a big deal about coming to an inaugural sailing like this. The Treasure literally just launched, so this is one of the first sailings that it has done, hence one of the reasons that it is so expensive. Also, it is unfortunately time for spring break, which is also one of the reasons that this was a 7K room and not the 5K that Anarkee and Chris were originally quoted for their room when they were supposed to go on an earlier sailing. Probably if I were to wait, it would be not nearly this bad, but Disney is going to be more expensive just by the nature of it being Disney. And also it's more expensive because I'm traveling alone. That still would have been the same price for this cabin, whether it was between me and another person. That's like the price of two people. That's the problem with being a solo traveler, is there's not always a single supplement waiver and things like that. But when I travel with Virgin Voyages, that on average is about $2 grand. Okay, so drastically different pricing for similar length of cruises. One thing that I really like about this cruise, this is unrelated to the wedding, everything's very clean here. Not that Virgin Voyages isn't clean, but like to go to the buffet, there is a hand washing station here. There is just hand sanitizer and hand washing stations all over the place. And I'm assuming it's because they're dealing with children. But it makes so much sense. Why is that not on Virgin? Now I'm thinking you guys are dirty. What's going on? Okay, anyways, wedding stuff. The one thing that was abundantly clear going into this is that this was not a legally binding ceremony in any capacity. They are not legally married. So you could just pay to have a ceremony on a Disney cruise if you would like, and it would not be legally binding.
I realize that I make it sound like they did not get legally married. They didn't get legally married on the ship. They're legally married. I went with them to the courthouse. I wanted to make sure you know they are married. Okay, bye.
Now, the way it would be legally binding is if they had decided to wait till our last at-shore day when we were at Castaway Cay. I think we're moving. Are we already disembarking? Hold on. Oh yeah, 3:45, so in like 20 minutes. Okay, we're fine.
So what is this? There we go. Inaugural sailing.
More free things.
Yay,
Ooh,
very
that's
nice.
cute.
Oh no, this is a wedding thing.
Oh,
Ooh.
fun.
This is a wedding thing.
Oh, it says happily.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute actually. So they got married on Tuesday, we got boarded on Saturday, and it was our first at-shore day. Now, they typically get married on shore days. If you're going to get married on the boat, it's still a shore day. Less people on the boat, less things to block off because people are ashore. If you want to be in a legally binding ceremony and also get married on the beach, that would be at Castaway Cay. But they didn't want to do that because the giant cruise ship would be in the background and they see that as a feature. Anarkee did not like that. She was like, that's a bit too Disney adult for me, because she's still in denial that she's a Disney adult.
First off, why are you hiding the fact that you are a Disney adult?
Fuck you.
So therefore they got married on ship during the time we were in Tortola.
Why did you decide to get married on a Disney cruise ship, or the Treasure specifically?
Basically, we met because of Aladdin, and this is a very Aladdin heavy ship. I don't know if this is in frame, but this is Agrabah art. Basically the whole ship is Aladdin themed. We were already going to come on this cruise just as a vacation, and then after he proposed, my mom was like, "Oh, you should just get married on the boat." And because we both don't like drinking or parties or being around a lot of people or really just most of the things that come with a wedding, and the thought of planning a wedding stressed me out. Planning this wedding stressed me out. So the thought of planning a real wedding stressed me out. So when she suggested that, I kept thinking about it, and I was like, wait, that's a good idea. I should just do that.
Overall, if you're comfortable with saying so, how much was the cost of the wedding outside of the cost of just you two coming on this cruise?
5K.
5K just across the board.
Yeah, I think there's like little upcharges, but like the cost of getting married on this cruise in the atrium is 5K.
Okay.
There's other little things that like we added on, but like for most of what we got is 5K.
And that includes the coordinator.
Yeah, all the people who are helping us, the person who actually married us, the pianist. It doesn't include the photographer. That was an extra cost, and I was annoyed about that, but that's fine. The reservation for dinner, but not you guys. It was supposed to just be us.
Yeah.
But that's included. Pressing the gown and his suit. Also, all of that, like
They steamed it all real nice.
yeah. Basically, to give reference, there has basically been a coordinated team of cast members planning our wedding at all times. Like, it was very hands off. And then when we got on the ship, they were like, all right, we're going to have a meeting. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about your photography. We're going to talk about this. Just at any time, if I needed anything for the wedding, they were like, got it. We'll bring it to you immediately. They gave us space bags to put my wedding dress in afterwards because my wedding dress is massive. So they were like, oh, if this won't fit back in your luggage, we have space bags for you. They have provided space. There's also a bunch of other little things they gave us that are obviously not
Included.
they're not like something that you would normally get. Or just the fact that, like, compared to your room and my parents' room, they gave us concierge, like, toiletries and, like, robes and, like, little things like that. Like, they tried their best to make this a concierge room, despite the fact that it's a normal room. There's, like, just little things. I'm like, oh, that's different. We also got the board first.
Yeah.
There's, like, you basically get, like, a VIP treatment, and then also the wedding planning. That's what the cost of that is. And basically renting that space in the atrium so that no one else can be there while you're doing your wedding.
There was a few meetings. One of the early days after we got checked in, there was a meeting with the coordinators. And originally I was not going to go to that, but then I went to that one as well. So I went a little bit late. So I got a little footage of like me and filming Chris and things like that. And that was just that was basically the rehearsal. There was no like rehearsal dinner side of this. It's basically you're going to walk here, wave to the crowd, look like a princess, go down. And that is where Kathleen really emphasized to Anarkee, your whole goal is to just look pretty and I will handle the rest. That was that meeting. And then free reign for like 2 days. We had 2 sailing days, so it was kind of like free reign. Then another day, Anarkee got a notice from a cruise app saying that there was a photography session. I did go with them to that one. And that one was good because she showed us a bunch of the different options for photos, which it's also good to have someone like me there, as in a friend. Because Anarkee is a princess. Anarkee is getting married. She wants to be nice to everyone. She needs someone to say, hey, we don't need those photos. Because some of the photos were very nice, which I do recommend for anyone. Have your friend that is a little okay with confrontation to be your maid of honor, if you're cool with that. Because in some of the photos I could tell, Anarkee was like, wow. I was like, okay, you don't like those. Hey, so I don't think we're feeling these. Like, it's not about being rude or mean or anything like that. It's just being able to be like, I don't think that's necessarily the vibe we're going for the photos and things like that. Because the last thing you want is 800 photos in places you don't want on the ship. There were certain spots that the photos that they showed that were beautiful photos, but it was not the vibe for Anarkee's dress, Chris's suit, etc. And I knew it wouldn't fit their vibe and that they wouldn't like it. Okay, and so I was just like, hey, and sure enough, Works out well. Okay. So something to know. Have someone with you that is okay with speaking up. If you are not the one to do that, that's okay. Okay. But Polly was the photographer and Polly was great. In the photo session, Anarkee did make a couple of requests for a couple of spots that we were hoping we could get photos in. We asked about the Haunted Mansion bar because we'd gone in sooner and it was like really cool in there. And so the issue with the bars is that because they serve alcohol, you're actually not supposed to take any of the photos in there because I'm assuming they just don't want to promote it or it's a different clearance and things like that, even though everyone was of age. So something like that. So we couldn't take photos in there. We did ask about the Bippity Boppity Boutique, which would have been really cute because Chris actually used to work at the Bippity Boppity Boutique. Anarkee is a cosplay creator. Would have been super cute to get photos in there. I don't think we ever got that cleared, and it actually was Pirate Day when they got married. So the Bippity Boppity Boutique was all pirate themed, which I don't think she would have been fine with. So I think it worked out as it was, but that would have been really cool. Polly said that if there were any other spots that we saw around the ship that they would like photos in, to just let her know. So we were prepared to do that.
Do you want to say how much the cost of photography was?
Oh yeah, that one made me angry. Okay, so the photographer, I think there might have been slightly other options, but the one that made sense was the digital package because I'm me, so
Yeah.
digital, I want digitals.
In case this isn't clear, because apparently some people on my social media did not realize that this is the Anarkee that I've always talked about. These are my friends. She is an influencer. He sometimes deletes his social media when he's not annoying me.
You know what?
And they're both cosplay creators. Digital package makes the most sense.
Photographer cost was, I think, a high $600, like rounding up, I think it's $700, which felt insane and still is probably insane. Like, that was a professional photographer and that was a professional photo shoot, which was great, but 600 feels high.
She's getting married. Did the curling iron work?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm trying to get.
Okay.
I have wedding pants.
That's why I was like, is that her? You're getting married.
I look a mess.
No, you look beautiful. I'm so excited. Look at the back. It says the bride.
Oh my god.
Then wedding day. Oh my gosh. I was going to go originally help Anarkee get ready and then go with her mom to get Chris to go to the main hall and then ended up meeting Chris down there. And then as you're gonna see, I also went on a little bit of an excursion earlier in the day to try and find a piece of ribbon for Anarkee. We ended up finding her necklace, so it was all fine and dandy, but she couldn't find her necklace. And so she asked me to go find white ribbon. There's apparently no white ribbon on this ship whatsoever. So something to keep in mind.
I have been given a bridesmaid duty, or maid of honor duty. I have to go to the Bippity Boppity Boutique and find ribbon. Okay, boutique has 0 ribbon, which is interesting.
And then we realized that we knew where they were. I think none of us just thought, it's my fault. I should have been like, the rings, and I didn't. So this is my fault. But really, am I the best man if I don't forget something? Truly.
I had to run because we forgot the rings, but we got them. We're good. Oh God, I ran in heels. Oh God.
This is kind of where we did like a little mini rehearsal here because the atrium was all blocked off for them to get married. Her mom did a little walk. I did a little walk. Chris comes out and then we sit down. There's a whopping 4 seats there. So I was sitting alone on Chris's side. Then Anarkee and her dad come down with her big dress and it was very nice. And because it was a port day, Anarkee didn't want a ton of people watching. That was the main thing. They did warn her. They were like, oh no, a bunch of people are going to watch. But because it was a port day and it was the first port day, I feel like if we had not had 2 sailing days back to back right at the start and instead we had a sailing day, a port day, and then a sailing day or something like that, and then they got married, maybe more people would have been around, but since it was the first port day and people were desperate to get off the ship, less people were on the ship. So I think it worked out really well because we had a good crowd forming, but it wasn't anything like too crazy. But it was really cool to see like the little girls see Anarkee in her dress and everything. She looked like a princess. It was very fun. Then we do the wedding. They get married, they do the ceremony. Me, Anarkee's mom, and Chris all talked with their officiant beforehand. He's an engineer, and he actually was talking with us about how he had seen this ship when it was literally just like hunks of iron, basically, which was very cool to like hear him. And he's about to go back to Germany and all that. So this was like the last ceremony he was doing, which was cool. Yeah, then was photo time. We had the atrium for a little longer, got more photos. And then me and Anarkee's parents go over to the Skipper Society. We didn't get to choose where the reception was. It was just kind of where it was decided. So this being in the Skipper Society, it is one of the open venues on the ship. So people are walking by, people can see. So if you're looking for something a little bit more intimate, that might be another charge. But this was just kind of like a, all right. They had decorated and pushed all the chairs out and things like that, which was nice. But like they probably would have had more tables and chairs set up if there was more of us, but there was 5 of us. So it was just a small intimate thing. They come out, introduce them as husband and wife. They do the cake cutting. They were very cool with the fact that none of us drank, which was nice, which I doubt, not that they would be uncool about it, but the fact that they didn't have like sparkling sparkling cider from like a Ralph's or something was nice, and they had like an actual like nice bottle of like faux champagne was nice.
The one thing that I will note that I think is important to know is that they were very emphasizing like the traditions of getting married in general. So if you were someone who's like, I don't want my dad to walk me down the aisle and things like that, I'm sure they'd be accommodating, but they kept even being like, Chris, you're going to come take Anarkee from her dad because that's tradition. And it's it's fine. But in my brain, I'm just like, I could see this being a problem at some point. Like, this is fine. But, like, I can see for some people that being potentially an issue.
She did ask me, like, what I want. You weren't there.
Okay.
For that one meeting we had. But she did ask me what I wanted and what I was comfortable with.
Yeah.
In, like, a way I think she figured out, like, oh, they're traditional, just no one here. like, the party is just very small.
Yeah.
But, like, if I had said, like, we don't want to do that, she'd be like, oh, okay, and then just move on.
Okay.
She I think that's what that whole meeting was to figure out what the itinerary would be.
Gotcha.
As far as we need timing for this, and this, and this, like whatever.
Gotcha.
They were like, do you guys want to dance? And we were like, no, we're just gonna eat cake. So we ate the cake, and then Holly was gonna take Anarkee and Chris to go get photos. I came with them because I had a bag of like their sunglasses and stuff because we knew they were going to go do photos and things like that. And her parents were like, okay, have fun. And so we were really in the Skipper Society for a whopping 20 minutes. Probably could have been a full hour, potentially, if we had requested it or asked or if more people had stayed. But not a big deal. Just something to note that we weren't in there very long. So I don't know how long it would be if we had like run out the clock. If they would have been like, so trivia is coming up. You guys got to go. We just kind of went all over the boat to get photos. Polly was great. Drake was with us for a little bit. Drake and Kathleen were the two coordinators for the wedding. Kathleen had to go work. Drake stayed with us for a little bit to help with the dress. And then I was like, I got it. You can go. Totally cool. So then I was going full cosplay assistant / maid of honor, carrying all of the dress and everything because it's a huge dress. At this point, Anarkee was like, it's fine if it gets dirty. And I was like, no. I'm worried about like elevator doors closing on it. I'm worried about a child being like, ooh, and like flopping onto it because it's huge. Like, I'm worried about you smacking into the floor more than I'm worried about the dress getting necessarily dirty. But we went all over the ship. We went to a couple of spots that Holly had pointed out. A few we couldn't get into, obviously. Coco was one that she had shown us, which Anarkee was really looking forward to because the stage has a big tree that overhangs it, which makes it look like it's outside, which is really nice. But they were doing rehearsals because they are still training people to be like the B team for the ship. So unfortunately, we could not get in there, which was a bummer. If like while we were walking, Polly would just be like, wait, stop, hold on. And I would like fan out the dress and then they would get shots and photos and things like that. There's an art hallway that has like a big Steamboat Willie style, like almost animatronic photo that's really cool. And so she wanted a photo with that. So we held a family hostage off to the side because they couldn't pass because her dress was blocking the entire hallway. You understand? But like I said, because it was a shore day, lots of people were not on the boat. So like there was multiple times where it's like this would normally be very busy, but it really wasn't that bad. So that was nice.
If you were to do this again, would you recommend it and why?
Yeah, no, I'd recommend. I don't like.
You too.
Yes, totally.
From just a planning perspective, I'm like, I liked the idea of I gave them money and I was given a wedding planner, a venue, everything. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to get on the boat. They made it very clear. They kept saying to me, all you have to do is come and look pretty.
Yeah, Kathleen kept saying, like, your only goal is looking pretty. I got everything else. It was very nice.
I did have, like, it was because I couldn't sleep. Like, the night before the cruise, I was like, is this worth it? Is this a waste of money? Why am I doing this? That was very much proven wrong as things kept happening throughout the trip. I was like, oh yeah, no, this was worth it. It's a lot, but, like, also just weddings in general are a lot. We price compared, like, how much would it be to have like a normal wedding in a hotel?
Minimum 10K.
Yeah, no, we really looked at it. We're like, no. This is a good in between where it's like we have like wedding pictures that we can like show our kids one day and like memories and stuff like that. And also it's kind of a honeymoon. It's kind of packaging.
It's also nice in doing this as well because I know we talked about this with if you had just hired like a regular wedding coordinator, you would have also had to have housed the coordinator like here and everything like that versus here. They're just on the ship and they were great. Everyone's been really great. And every time you have a meeting or something, they just send it to your app. And then you're like, oh, okay, I have a meeting with our photographer at
They keep making
10:30.
I'm very annoyed that one meeting is at 9:30 p.m. I'm like, ugh. Oh.
They heard us talking shit.
Would I get married on a Disney cruise? I'm not opposed. I do think this is an option, though, for people who, you know, maybe just want to do something special, but want to have less planning, you know, and things like that. And maybe you don't have anyone in your family that's like, I will plan your wedding for you, because I have a lot of people like that in my family if I ever decide to actually get married. But I'm eloping and then having a party. So this was not my dream setup or anything like that. Like, yes, $5K is a lot, But for wedding standards, especially in places like California, I had a friend who kept their wedding, I think, to like $13K. And like everyone was like, wait, really? How? Like the cost comes in for the individuals that are coming on your ship. So like there's a reason that I am the only friend here. Okay. It's because of the cost. So that's a cost that I was able to do so I could come be a part of my friend's wedding. And I'm happy that I could do that. But it is something to keep in mind because a lot of people were like, oh, how many people are in your party? You know, and it's like, it's just us. Now, obviously that's going to be easier when you don't do a like spring break time wedding like that. I feel like more people probably could have come if we had done a different time slot, but this was the time to do it, so it worked out. The ship is beautiful. It's really nice. This is my first time on a Disney cruise, so this has been a lot, especially since I'm used to Virgin, which is no kids. So it's interesting to just have kids be like hello all the time, or just have them run up and take a chair, or what happened yesterday when I was in line for ice cream, because I've been in line for ice cream a lot, where a child just came up and like rested his head against me. And I was like, are you good? He's like, yeah, I'm tired. And then just like walked off. Okay. Okay, bud. Everyone's really trusting on the ship. It's a lot. Everyone's been very sweet. It's kind of like Anarkee said, like it's like their honeymoon on top of being on the cruise. We had another port day today. We have another sailing day tomorrow and then Castaway Cay, and then we're done. So a few more days. I think doing the wedding on Tuesday was good because it was like time to decompress and plan things out versus doing like wedding day 2 and then having more time. I don't know if you could request which day it was because I'm fairly certain they just told Anarkee and Chris like which day they were getting married. So yeah, that's kind of it. Have you ever heard of a Disney cruise wedding? Have you ever gotten married on a Disney cruise? Has the Treasure cruise experience, wedding cruise experience been something that you've seen? Did you get one on a different ship and was it different? Let me know. Comment down below. Okay. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. My Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder, use code 12 for 10% off on Gamer Subs. Shout out to my channel members. If you'd like to join channel memberships, you can go ahead and click down below. If you'd like to follow me on social media, that'll be all up here. And that's me. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. Is that my phone?
Yeah, it's your phone.
Oh God, my dress is sitting on my... It's spam. Fuck you. God, I just got flat tired by my dress.